Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and this is going to be the first community tier list summary video where I'll be talking about the responses that you guys have helped to put in as well. So I took all these 300, 400 responses that we got in the last 2 days. Maybe I'll give more time in future as well to collect more data, but I just wanted to put this video out to see whether this is worth doing in future if you guys like this kind of format. I think community tier list is really much better because I get to factor in a lot of individual account situations and getting the average of what everyone is feeling. From my perspective, maybe it's just one opinion of a person who has everything, so it might not be the best, but I think this is helpful to the general average population out there as it factors in a lot. So tons of data over here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some summaries of what we see. I also do some statistics and tell you some key observations I have, and of course the tier list will come up real soon. So sample size, what we are working with, 372, and what's very important before we jump into the tier list is to know what are the rules and the input variables, because garbage in, garbage out, very important to get it right at the start for it to be a much better and more usable data. So to make it more usable, I added in two main criteria. The first one is I split, of course, the categories into 3. I'll explain why in a bit, but I limit each category only can have one top pick, and this top pick is given like a slightly higher point than the other ratings that are given. This is just to make it so that everyone can know like which are the definitely clear better units compared to the rest. And also S tier, I only limit it to 3 in the S tier per category, so a total of like 9 maximum for a person doing the survey. What this means is you can't just have every character in S tier, which will make the tier list very useless. So this helps spread out the variance a little bit more, because it becomes more subjective to many people who is going to be in the S tier, who's going to be A tier. A and S, as you can see, are pretty much inter-exchangeable depending on what kind of account, what is the meta, so likely these units will rotate from time to time depending on the meta situation. And of course, I split it into 3 different categories, and the reason for that is the resources that you need to get each of these characters vary differently, and it's nice to see them within their category, so it's nice to compare which limited 5 stars is better, judged based on the judgment, which standard 5 stars are better, and stuff like that. So just a very quick general overview. What this means is the overall tab, the consolidated list, might favor a certain category, especially if there are too many strong ones in that one, or 4-star characters that are super broken. We will see that in the consolidated list, but I'll tell you a bit of my analysis later on too. So it's not as if I was slacking. If I did quite a lot of analysis on this too, and if you guys are interested, I'll be sharing you the link for this whole document that you can access on your own free time whenever, towards the end of this video after we talk a bit through this as well. So of course, giveaway details will be announced in a little bit to how I select it. We'll do it in this video as well. So first things first, we took all these major form responses. As you can see, it's like hundreds of rows. What I did is I adjusted it all. I gave points to each of this allocation, and I have a very nice ranking here. So this is kind of like a teaser already. It shows you the list of who is the best character, and I'll just scroll down real quick and you can see who is the worst character based on a rating. It's nice to see. You can see on your own free time this chart here, but I think it's more useful if we put it in a tier list that is consolidated. And how we have is whatever points that you guys have allocated, I put it all in this very nice chart. I'll explain why I highlighted certain ones in a bit. For those of you who are interested and just skipping to this point, this is the tier list video, or this is the tier list that the community has allocated for all the different characters in the game. Why is this not the only one that is very useful? Because this is a consolidated one. As you know, this tier list, the survey was done in categories, so forming a console reflects a slight advantage to characters at the top here. What is more useful is looking at it by category, which we'll talk about in a bit, but this kind of reflects the game state of players, looking at standard 5 stars versus the rest, looking at standard 4 stars characters versus the rest, and limited 5-star characters accordingly too. So what I noticed and why I highlighted this is these are characters that changed their position within each other, so it's quite inter-exchangeable as I was doing the data. So I didn't only do this at the end when I got all the data. Once I had like 100 in, I started to populate like this sheet already, and what I noticed is Luota Fu Xuan will often switch places depending on the time, so it could go either way. Same for Fire MC and Su Sang was more or less like switching places here and there. The rest of them stayed more or less consistent, so you can tell that there's not much influence based on like time zone issues, and also based on like when people are using the sheet and stuff like that, or doing the survey data. So that's something quite interesting to know, and that is the tier list consolidated. For those of you who are interested, what is more important, I think, and is more useful, is going to be sorting by category. I'll talk about this in a little bit. Let me just move it aside first. That will be in the next chart category. I might clean this up later. But you can see here, in the 5-star category, we can clearly see that people are favoring, for example, Jingliu, Imbibitor Lune, the top favorites, Fucc, Luota, Silverwolf are all S tier on average by most people. And what's more interesting later on we will see is the top picks are split quite evenly throughout most of them. Blade, Zila, and Kafka are more or less A tier. I think that they could easily make it into S tier if I increase the pool of characters that could be selected for S tier. Of course, by limiting to 3 means at least we get a bit of a clearer split between S and A tier. If I didn't put that criteria in, likely we'll see everyone in S tier, which might make this a bit top heavy. Unfortunately, Jingyuan, a lot of people don't see as A- tier or even A tier. Currently, the consensus is that he's roughly around B tier on average. So this is according to only 372 data sets of people that watch my content. So of course, it's not subjected to the whole Honkai Star Rail community, but it's just the people who are maybe watching this video as well. So next up we have the 5-star standard characters, which is also quite interesting because we have a clear winner here in Bronya. She's the best voted in this category. The votings were done in these individual segments as well. So Bronya was clear winner. Japat, Clara pretty good as well. Well also did quite well. And Physical MC, Fire MC, they are standard 5 stars, but I put them in this list because they are 5-star characters after all. So this might not vary too much, but out of all of them, Himiko currently is the lowest rated ones, followed by Yenting surprisingly is also quite low rated on this list. Surprised because in the start of the game he was rated quite highly. So that is pretty interesting to know. Bailu, of course, maybe it's because so many healers have came into the game. Like you have Lynx, you have Luota, so maybe her priority now is much lower, especially for people who pulled from either one of them or even Fucc, for example. Maybe it's much less. In future, maybe we could collect like a bit more data set, like who are the characters that you use or stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes, depending on how you guys respond and appreciate. Like, do you like this content at all? Let me know in the comments below too, so we can keep on improving. So 4-star characters, we have this list. By far, Tingyun was the best. Pella and Lynx are currently in second place or in S tier. Most people think that they are really strong units, and etc. The list follows as well. I think Qingque is a character that has quite high dispersion depending on what your assumptions of Eidolons are. I didn't specify, I just said that give in your perspective, which means the Eidolons is based on the average of what people normally have for a particular character. So not, I didn't say like all at E6 or all at E1 for example. So it's just, I just wanted the average information from what most people are feeling in the game, your feelings, rather than like thinking from E6 and E1 perspective. So that's the table that we have so far. Ireland is clearly the C tier out of all of them. So out of all of these data, we have a nice classification, but then I decided to do a little bit of value add here. And what I did, as you can see, let me just remove this chart here. I was doing some calculations. So I took all these data here and I put them into like percentages of who rated what. So in this adjusted data tab, you can actually see based on colors, like some characters are rated lower than other characters who are rated much better in the top category here. So I put like nice charting. You can see exactly how many percent voted for which one. And also I do like average, standard deviation. Mode here just shows you the most common selection out of all of them. So as you can see, like a character like Bronya, most common was top pick. 90% of you pick her top pick in the standard 5-star category. So it's quite reflective of the data that we've seen so far. So this, boring, just numbers. So I decided to put it into charts. What I have here is the distribution of votes. All the survey data that we have, I put it in this nice chart here. I'm an analyst by profession, so this are kind of my hobby to do on free time. I like seeing charts that are like that colorful as well. So if you appreciate such content, do like, subscribe for more of such future information. I do hope to keep doing this. I really enjoy it, and I hope you find value in it too, rather than like one person giving his opinion or like some foreign opinion that doesn't really include your perspective as well. So this distribution of votes, you can see here that Bronya as well as Tingyun have very high percentages of top picks. The red ones are the S tier. You can see which characters are generally quite likable by most people. And more importantly, I think if we look at the top pick category in the limited 5 stars, so this is like split up to here is like the limited 5 stars, you can see the distribution is more or less even between Silverwolf, Luota, Fucc, Jingliu, as well as Imbibitor Lune. They have roughly a similar split, and a lot of them have up to here is mostly considered as S tier or top pick characters over here. Of course, you can see distribution here a bit more bias. A lot of people say Jingyuan doesn't feel he's as good. Most rate him A or B tier. This is the split as well. So quite useful information. And like Physical MC, Ireland here, you can see is quite like lowly rated, too much grey and black over here. I apologize for anyone who's colorblind as well. I hope you don't mind. But what's more important, if you can't read this, I have it here just in case any of you colorblind folks, I understand. That's why I put like percentages here. It's a bit more boring to look at, but this is for anyone who's interested in more color as well. And of course, this alone doesn't tell us too much. What I did is standard deviation. This is all in the same color, so it doesn't matter whether you're colorblind or not. What this tells us is how spread out the data is over here, like whether everyone is just voting for the same one or whether it's split up. So basically, the larger the number, the worse, because less people can agree on the average. The smaller number means more people agree on the average rating. So we see here like Bronya, Tingyun, very low standard deviation because most people voted her at top pick. And it shows in this data. The one that people couldn't agree most on was actually Ireland. Ireland's deviation was the most from average, which means, I guess, depending on the eidolons that you have or the character style. Another character that of course deviates very heavily is Xue. I guess whether you have an E6 or E0 affects this number as well, based on what we see. Then you can also read like the other characters that I think the deviation is low. And for any of you who just want to access this document as well, I leave the link here. It can also be found in the video description below, or you can also find it on our Twitter X page. I think it will be very useful. Please go ahead and share it as well. The more that we get, the more people I can do giveaways for. If this video reaches out to more people, please do go ahead and share it as well. We hope to grow this number and we can get a larger population contributing too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. The giveaway details of the winners will be in the video description. I'll give numbers. The numbers that win basically correspond with the row over here. And if you are the winner, please do contact me on Discord, X, YouTube, comments, whatever, whichever is more convenient for you, or even leave me an email. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.